so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
So could you talk to us a little bit about how substantially and in what ways has the Eurozone crisis affected your business this year?
Talking about my business, I have to say it's not been affected much. We are now starting to see a decline in expansion plans for retail companies. What we do, I'm a lawyer and I counsel international companies in their development into Italy, and they have developed a lot in the past years, and they are now starting to rethink about opening stores at the moment. So I have to say not so far. We saw a pause in 2010, then it took off again, and right now I think they are thinking, they're starting to be again more cautious about what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Now more broadly, how has European political, economic, and financial integration impacted your business, particularly with these retailers wanting to come and open locations here?
Well, I remember my clients in October 2011, they asked me, you know, we should have in our contracts a clause for in case the euro is not going to be the currency anymore. And I said, well, forget about that. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. And everybody was convinced at that time, and we're talking about a little more than 6 months ago, that the euro was never going to fail. Mm-hmm. Then in December this year, particularly Italy started to be really in the middle of this crisis, and that's where the government changed, and we got rid of the previous government, and we got Mario Monti in place with the technicians, and they started an emergency maneuver to take Italy back from the big crisis. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and that's where, you know, I started thinking about my clients and what they asked, and understanding that this was much closer than expected. So I have to say, this, along with the general feeling, people are really scared. We're really scared in December. January, February, not so much. Right now, with the Greek crisis, worse. And therefore, I think that the climate is really scary. Particularly, you know, in retail, if people don't buy, then it's that's where the decline starts.
Right. Now, what do you expect in terms, I mean, looking a year out or even 5 years out, I mean, what do you expect to happen with the euro? Do you expect that some countries will leave? I mean, what about Italy specifically? What kind of things are you sort of anticipating to happen here?
Well, you know, there was a lot of discussion about that. Right now, people are thinking that Greece might leave the euro. It's definitely scary because the feeling is that it could generate a domino effect. So other countries would be dragged into this. Nobody at the moment, I think, would think that Italy would leave the euro, but it's difficult to predict. Very difficult to predict. Many very strong measures were taken by the Italian government, the new Italian government, to avoid that this happen. New taxes, of course, and we are already a country that has very heavy taxation, and measures to give a spark to the economy. Especially in retail, for example, we had new laws enabling businesses to be open 24/7, which was not the case, and being able to open on Sundays, which is also something that's new. So, you know, it's a combination of taxes and measures to boost the economy.
But now, does austerity, I mean, is there a concern that makes people hesitant to spend?
Definitely, definitely. It's always that balance. It's very difficult to understand how much of taxation you need and how much of new measures you need, because that could be a catch-22 situation, very dangerous for the economy and for the general feeling. Yes, I agree.
Now, I mean, what features of the Eurozone crisis, I mean, concern you the most? I mean, for example, consumer confidence, the volatility of the financial markets, high youth unemployment?
I think one of the things that concerned us the most, Europe had not seen itself as really a federation of nations, but had seen itself like a combination of individual states. So what concerned many, I think, Europeans was that the decision of a single country could drag the whole European Union into a big crisis. So we were used to see what the Hungarian Prime Minister would say and be concerned about that. And then everybody would listen to what Angela Merkel would say, you know, and now Greece, but also, you know, Ireland. And the feeling, which is quite worrying, is, you know, what's going to happen in one country is going to affect me. And that's something we cannot control in a way because it's not domestic. So that, I think, was scary. I found also a difficult moment for the European Union when David Cameron walked out of the meeting without accepting the fiscal compact and the new measures. I thought that that was also quite unstable because, you know, the UK in a way was always half in and half out of this union. And also what I found scary as being somebody from the legal world is that you need unanimity to reach decisions in the European Union, which I think is also quite difficult in such a situation. So.
Now, what do you think is the answer? I mean, do you think it's more integration between the countries or less? Because I could see that there's pros and cons with each.
Apparently, the problem was that, and nobody realized it in Europe when this would happen. The union happened 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is that there was a union was made at a bureaucratic level, and believe me, there is a lot of bureaucracy in Europe at the European Union level, but not at a fiscal level, and that should instead have happened and didn't. And therefore, it was half carried through this project, and should have been otherwise. So I think that was a mistake, and therefore, yes, I think the answer is more integration, and we need that to happen quickly also.
Now, getting beyond that a little bit, and kind of my final question, I mean, what do you think both other economies, the global economy, and even like if an individual business person, I mean, what can we take from what's happened in Europe and kind of apply to sort of improve, to improve? I mean, what kind of lessons do you think people should take from this?
The European Union is quite unique, I think. It's not Asia, which is booming at the moment and is in a completely different situation. It's not the US. I've spoken to many US American friends, and they said, we have difficulties as well. We thought we were the ones in difficulties at the moment, but the US doesn't have these issues. I think it's quite a unique crisis because it's a combination of countries which each have a very different tradition and very different cultures. And therefore, putting them all together and making them decide, it's not going to be easy. Even if you look at Italy, every little city in Italy has a different dialect, has different food, and has different art. So, from the Renaissance, where every city was a state, that has not changed much. It's difficult to have somebody from Reggio Emilia talk to somebody from Modena, even if they are 25 kilometers away. They don't understand many of the traditions. So you can understand at a European level, that's not the easiest of tasks. So I think also people are scared that the stress is so much on finance. People are scared about that, and they don't want that. We have survived without such a heavy impact of finance for many hundred of years, and maybe we could do so for the future as well.
Thank you so much for talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.